Recently, someone asked me if I still go to therapy every week, and the answer is no. What's up, Unbroken Nation? Hope that you're doing well wherever you are in the world today. Very excited to be back with you with another episode. Before I jump in, I just wanted to share some good news, awesome news, actually. I just found out that the Think Unbroken podcast ranked at number 42 of the top 100 self help and personal improvement podcasts on planet Earth. Amazing. I'm so excited about that. It's one of those things where you're like, I didn't know I could do that, even though I'm like, let's go and do that. So we're trying to get to number one. So thank you for that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. When you go in and you hit that 5 star, you leave that review, it means the world. So do me a favor. If you haven't left a review, go and leave a review, hit that 5 star, and I'm going to randomly select from the new reviews. Someone's going to win a copy of my brand new book, Unbroken Man. And I'm going to do that every single week until it comes out. So if you want to get a copy for free, go leave a review, hit 5 stars, or hit 1 star. If you're like, fuck this show, it's stupid, leave 1 star. I'm totally okay with that because I want to know the truth. That said, so someone asked me a question and they asked me, do you still go to therapy every week? The answer is no, I don't. And it's really kind of like I can let my shoulders down on that and be like, I love that I don't have to go to therapy every week anymore. I love it. And in fact, one of the awesome things about my journey, and I know this won't always hold true for everyone, but it did for me, is I get to have my therapist on speed dial. Like I can hit this guy up whenever I want and be like, hey, I need to work through this thing I can't figure out about my past. And he'll hop on and it's phenomenal and it's super beneficial to me. And in the beginning, it wasn't like that. So if I rewind, I go back to call it a decade ago. I'll give you a little bit of timeline here. When I go back about a decade ago, I was going to therapy about once a week. And I was just starting to get comfortable with this idea about truth and vulnerability and all those things. And then when I left Indiana and moved to Portland, I said, I'm going all in. And all in for me at that time, and I mean this in a literal sense, I'm not joking, was therapy 4 times a week. On top of groups, on top of body work, on top of all these other things. And so I would go to my regular one-on-one therapy. That was on Mondays. I would go to my group therapy. That was on Wednesdays. Those actually changed eventually. I would do EMDR whenever I could get in, or like Tuesday afternoons. And I would do CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, on Fridays. And so I was literally, now look, and I recognize that most people, that's overkill. And even for me, I'm like, that's overkill, but I felt it necessary. I felt it because I was like, if I'm going to do this shit, I'm going fucking all in. I'm going all in on this. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to go. And for a year, I did almost all 4 of those. Minus EMDR, because it's a session-based thing. I think I did 12 or 15 sessions like that, and then it went down to just group, one-on-one, and CBT, and then eventually it went down to group and one-on-one, and then it went down to then it went down to one-on-one only. And that was a progression over, I think, about a 3-year period. And then when I got to one-on-one, it was me and my therapist every Wednesday night, 5:00 p.m., Portland, Oregon. Same office, same chair, same window, same mug, sitting there drinking the same fucking tea for years. Until what happened was I started realizing it wasn't benefiting me anymore to be in there with that frequency. Because there was so much other personal development happening, so much other work, so much growth. And I continually felt like I would go in there and it's like we were rehashing these same old things. And then I realized that that was happening because I wasn't allowing myself to just put those things on a shelf and let go of them. And when I started doing that, and that was really the fascinating progression about healing, was I started getting to this point where I would just put these things away. I'd be like, oh, we talked about it. I understand it. I have causation and correlation around it. I can create meaning, and I would just put it away. And the more I did that, the less I felt the need to have to go to therapy every week. And then eventually it became every other week. And then it became monthly. And it's amazing to be able to say that, to be able to have the tools today, a decade removed from this journey, more so now, to be able to make meaning of things on my own and process and use and leverage all of these tools that I've got from all of these amazing human beings over the years. And because of that, now when I go to therapy, it's pretty rare. Like, so recently in the late winter, or I guess is that early winter? It's early winter, December, January. I started going back to therapy with a little bit of regularity. There was something happening in my life, something that I'm going to keep private to myself at this moment. Maybe I'll talk about it one day. I haven't decided yet. And with this thing happening, I was like, oh, I need support here. I need to figure out causation, correlation. I need to figure out meaning. I need to be able to assess this and put things where they go. And then I started getting back into it. And now I'm kind of out of it. And, now it's once a month. And then it may go back to that speed dial thing. And that's kind of what I think is the really interesting facet of therapy. I think far too often we get caught in it, like maybe not caught, that might be the wrong way to phrase it, but we get in it in a way that it just becomes so normative that we just continue to go and leverage it and don't see a lot of change happen. I think for me personally, and I'll only speak for myself because I can't speak for anyone else, I got to the point where I felt like I'd hit this wall with therapy. And not in a bad way. I'm glad I hit that wall because trust me, with all the work, all the time, all the effort, all the money, I was like, I'm done. I need a fucking break from this for a while. And taking that break ended up being kind of this catalyst that made me think about, traveling the world and living in all these countries and writing the first book and starting the podcast. And then in these interims, there'd be something that happened, right? And I would go and I'd reach out and I'd say, hey, can we have a session? I need this right now. And that's like, to me, that's the greatest gift, to not need it, but have it when you do. And today, as I look at and I think about the future, I think about this with coaching too. There's evolutions to this, all of this life, everything that we do. And as we evolve, you have to recognize that you probably are going to level up and level out of where you're at right now and who you're with today. And that applies to therapy. That applies to coaching. My favorite moment as a coach is when I have a client come and say, hey man, I'm good. I'm going to go try this on my own. The other side of it too is sometimes I'll say, hey, I think that you have all the tools that you need. It's time. It's time for you to go out into the world, little grasshopper, right? Because I think that that's a part of the journey too, is you level up and there's somebody to serve you beyond me, right? And I look about that in my coaches in my own life. And when it comes to therapy, I think about the same thing. I go, okay, cool. When I need it, am I in the right place with the right person? Am I leveled past this? Because to be honest, guys, some of you are in therapy with a therapist that you've outgrown, but you stay because of comfort. And to me, I think of that as like being in a relationship that doesn't serve you. At some point, like, unfortunately, and this isn't always true, I'm not trying to make a blanket statement, but at some point, the therapist, you should question this about yourself. Is your therapist making your life better, or are you doing this still because it's so formulaic? And that was with one therapist, that was an experience that I had. And I was like, hey, I'm out. This isn't helping me. Right. And so you've got to be the arbitrator of your life, right? You've got to be the one who moves yourself forward. And also, maybe you don't need therapy every week. Maybe it's every other week. Maybe it's every third week. Maybe it's once a month. Maybe it's once a quarter, right? There's so many different things. And I know that there are people who are proponent of it for every week. And I certainly was at the beginning. And I think if you're at the beginning of the journey, every week is ideal, maybe even a couple of times a week, especially if you got some heavy shit. But I think as you go and as you progress and as you grow and as you heal, you may want to consider doing it less. You may want to consider living a little bit. I'll have clients come in and when I coach them, I'll see it, I'll feel it. I'll hear it in their voice. There's a hesitance, a resonance of like, I don't want to be here right now. And I can pick up on it because I've fucking been there. And I'll be like, hey, after this session, we're going to take a break. You're going to take 3 weeks away. I'm not going to coach you. I will literally kick people out for 3 weeks. Like, nope, go live your life. Go live your life. Now, of course, if they need me and they message me like, oh shit, of course I'm going to show up and we're going to take care of them. But ultimately, if they're in this place where so much of their life is under control and they're feeling good and they're rocking. I have a couple clients, like I coach them once a month. I have one client I think of, I coach them once every quarterly, every 3 months we get together. It's on the calendar right now. And then I have other clients where I coach them once a week or multiple times a week. So it really just depends on where you are in your journey. But just ask yourself, do I need to do this every single week? And for me, as I've grown, I stopped going every week. It just didn't make sense. And today it doesn't. If I hit another wall like I did in December, if I hit this moment, I'm going to pick up the phone, be like, yo, can we go through this again? I need help. I need guidance. I need assistance. So that said, Unbroken Nation, take a moment, contemplate, think about whether or not you even need to listen to this show tomorrow, because there's going to be another one. There is. Or do you need to pick it up in a week? Do you need to come back in a month? Maybe in a quarter? I don't know. But you should ask yourself. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, tell a friend. And until next time, my friends, be unbroken. I'll see you.